In a busy city, there lived a young person who, like many others, woke up every morning to the sounds of cars honking and people talking. The city was full of life, with bright lights and crowded streets. But despite the busy surroundings, he felt something was missing inside. He felt lost. Every day, he followed the same routine. He woke up, went to work or school, did his tasks, and then went to bed. It felt like life was passing him by, and he couldn't find his way. He often scrolled through social media on his phone, seeing friends and strangers traveling the world, starting businesses, and sharing their success stories. Everyone seemed so happy and successful, but he felt stuck. He began comparing his life to others. Why wasn't his life as exciting? Why did he feel like he was falling behind? He wondered if his dreams were too big or too small. Sometimes, he thought maybe his dreams of becoming a writer, an artist, or a teacher were just too far out of reach. He started to doubt himself and his abilities. As the days went by, these feelings of comparison grew stronger. The people around him seemed to know exactly what they wanted in life, while he was just going through the motions, not knowing where to go. Every conversation at work or school seemed to be about new ideas, career success, or the exciting things people were doing with their lives. But for him, his life felt ordinary, and he didn't feel like he was moving forward. He began to wonder if he would ever find his true purpose, or if he would always feel lost. His dreams seemed like distant stars, far out of reach. His thoughts were clouded by doubt and confusion. Every day, the pressure to figure things out grew heavier. One evening, as he was sitting alone in his room, sipping a cup of warm tea, he saw something that made him stop. It was a short video, just a few minutes long, but the message it carried struck him deeply. The person in the video spoke about how small, simple actions could lead to big changes. The idea was simple, but powerful. Small steps lead to great journeys. He paused the video and rewound it. He listened again. The message felt like a spark inside him. He realized that maybe the change he had been waiting for didn't need to be something big or immediate. Maybe it could start with something small, something simple. Instead of waiting for everything to fall into place, he could take small actions every day that would eventually lead to something bigger. That night, he lay in bed thinking about what he had just heard. He thought about his life, about his dreams, and about the small actions he could take to begin the change he desired. He didn't know exactly where this would lead, but he made a promise to himself, I will start small. He realized that it was okay to begin with something simple. The important thing was to take that first step. The next morning, he woke up a few minutes earlier than usual. He felt the cool air as he sat up in bed, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of calm. Instead of reaching for his phone to check social media like he usually did, he picked up a notebook and wrote a single sentence, "Today is a gift." It felt awkward, like he wasn't doing enough, but it also felt kind. Just writing those few words made him feel a little better. It was a small action, but it was a start. He realized that it wasn't about doing something huge right away. It was about doing something, anything, that could lead him in the right direction. As the day went on, he kept reminding himself of his promise. He went through his routine, but he started to notice small things that he hadn't paid attention to before. He went to a nearby store and bought a fresh apple. Instead of eating it quickly, he ate it slowly, savoring each bite and feeling its sweetness. It felt like a small victory, a moment of presence in a busy day. That evening, he decided to read a page from a book before bed. It wasn't much, just one page, but it felt like progress. He was starting to see how small, simple actions could begin to change the way he felt. The world around him was still fast and loud, but he was beginning to find peace in these little habits. The next day, he wrote another sentence. He read another page. Day by day, these small steps added up. His thoughts began to shift. He started to feel a little more in control of his life. The sense of being lost began to fade, replaced by a feeling of purpose. It wasn't an overnight change, but he could feel it happening. Little by little, he was becoming someone who could move forward. Each small step brought a little more clarity. Each small action helped him feel less stuck. And for the first time in a long time, he felt hopeful. He knew that he wasn't going to change everything at once, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that he had taken the first step. In the quiet moments of his day, he would think about how far he had come, not in big ways, but in small, steady steps. And that, he realized, was enough. It was more than enough. He was on his way, and that was all that mattered. The next morning, after his decision to start small, the young person wakes up a little earlier than usual. The sun is just beginning to rise, and the room is quiet. For the first time in a long while, he feels a sense of calm. He sits on the edge of his bed, takes a deep breath, and remembers his promise to take small steps each day. Instead of checking his phone, as he usually did, he picks up a notebook. He writes one simple sentence: "Today is a gift." At first, it feels strange. Writing just one sentence doesn't seem like much. But in that moment, it feels like something important. He smiles quietly to himself, feeling good about the decision to take that first step. It's not a huge change, but it's a start, and that's enough for now. He puts the notebook down and gets ready for the day. Throughout the day, he keeps his promise to himself. He focuses on the small things. When he feels the urge to check his phone, he stops and reminds himself to be present. Instead of rushing through his lunch, he takes the time to enjoy it. He buys a fresh apple at the corner shop, and instead of eating it quickly, he eats it slowly, savoring each bite. It's a small thing, but it feels right. That evening, as he prepares for bed, he picks up a book. It's been a while since he has read anything for fun, but he remembers his promise again. He opens the book and reads one page. It's just one page, but it feels like a step in the right direction. He closes the book and smiles. He feels proud of himself. He has kept his promise to himself, and that feels good. The next day, he does the same thing. He wakes up a little earlier, writes a sentence, and reads a page. Each day, these small actions begin to add up. He notices something. His thoughts are beginning to change. He no longer feels lost in the busy city. He doesn't feel like he's stuck in the same routine anymore. He feels like he's moving forward, even if it's just a little bit. These small steps are starting to make a difference. They are changing the way he feels. Each sentence he writes, each page he reads, is a step towards something bigger. It's not about making huge changes overnight. It's about taking small, steady steps every day. Over time, those small steps turn into something bigger, something meaningful. As the days go by, he begins to notice other changes in himself. He feels a little more confident. He feels a little more in control of his life. He no longer feels as overwhelmed by the busy world around him. He's finding peace in the small, everyday actions. Writing one sentence, reading one page, taking one slow step at a time, these simple actions are making him feel better about himself. One evening, after a week of writing and reading, he looks back at the sentences he has written. They are not perfect, but they are his. They represent his journey, his small steps forward. He realizes that it doesn't matter if the sentences are perfect. What matters is that he has started, he has made progress, and that is enough. Each sentence, no matter how small, is a victory. He also begins to notice something else. As he writes, he feels a little more creative. The simple act of writing one sentence each day is helping him think more clearly. He feels more inspired to write more, to do more. The small steps are building his confidence, his creativity, and his sense of self. One day, after writing a few sentences, he feels brave enough to share his progress with a friend. He tells his friend, "I wrote one sentence today. It feels a little awkward." But his friend smiles and encourages him. "That's a great start. Keep going." The words are simple, but they mean a lot. The encouragement from his friend gives him the motivation to keep going. He realizes that sharing his small wins is important. It helps him feel less alone on his journey. It reminds him that progress, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. Each day, he continues his small actions. He writes a sentence, reads a page, and stays present in each moment. The small steps continue to build, and slowly, he begins to see changes in himself. He feels more positive, more focused. The world around him is still busy, but he no longer feels overwhelmed. He's learning to take it one step at a time. As time passes, these small actions become habits. Writing a sentence, reading a page, and staying present become part of his daily routine. They are no longer things he has to think about. They just happen. The small steps he started taking at the beginning have become a natural part of his life. He looks back and realizes how far he has come. The small steps he took each day have added up. He feels proud of himself, not because he made huge changes, but because he stayed consistent. He didn't give up. Each small step has led him to a place of greater peace and confidence. And that, he knows, is the power of small, steady steps. They may seem small at first, but over time, they create big changes. In the end, he understands that change doesn't have to be fast or dramatic. It doesn't need to be big to be important. What matters is that you keep going, even when the steps feel small. It's the small steps, taken consistently, that lead to the biggest transformations. And with each step, he is becoming the person he always wanted to be. As the days went by, the young person continued to write his sentences and read his pages every day. He was feeling better, more in control of his life. However, life is never without its challenges, and soon, he faced something unexpected that tested his resolve. One day, he received some bad news. The company he worked for was going through a difficult time and had to let some employees go. Unfortunately, he was one of the people who lost their job. His heart sank. All the progress he had made seemed to suddenly fade away. He felt lost again, as if everything he had been working for was now slipping out of his hands. The fear and uncertainty crept back in. For the first time in a while, he felt that familiar feeling of doubt. What now, he wondered. What am I supposed to do? I've just started to feel better, and now I'm facing another setback. The fear of the future made him question whether all the small steps he had taken had been worth it. He began to think maybe he should just give up. The journey he was on seemed so uncertain, and now he had to figure out how to start over. But then he remembered something important. He remembered the message he had heard in that video. Self-improvement is not just about the easy times. It's also about how you rise after a fall. The words echoed in his mind. He realized that losing his job didn't mean the end of his progress. It was simply another challenge to overcome. Instead of getting stuck in his fear, he decided to take action. He didn't know exactly what to do, but he knew he had to do something. Instead of immediately looking for a new job, he chose to focus on something he had always wanted to do, creating. He had always loved design, and he realized that this could be a great opportunity to explore that passion. He decided to design a simple planner. It would be a tool to help people create good habits: writing, reading, exercising, reflecting. He wasn't sure if anyone would want it, but he felt that it was something he could offer to others. It was a small project, but it gave him a sense of purpose. Over the next few weeks, he dedicated time every day to working on his planner. He used the same steady habits he had built up: writing, reading, and taking small steps. He researched, drew designs, and worked hard to make his project better each day. There were many times when he felt frustrated or unsure, but he kept going. He reminded himself that this was a new opportunity, not a failure. Little by little, the planner began to take shape. He shared it with a few friends and family members, asking for their feedback. They were supportive and encouraged him to keep going. One day, he decided to post it online. At first, he didn't expect much. But then, something surprising happened. People started buying the planner. He received messages from strangers saying how helpful it was for them to have a simple tool to track their habits. It wasn't a huge success, but it was a start. It was a sign that his small steps were leading to something meaningful. Through this process, he learned an important lesson: challenges are part of life. They can feel difficult, but they are also opportunities for growth. Losing his job didn't stop him from moving forward. It pushed him to try something new, something that he had always wanted to do. The small habits he had built over time helped him stay focused. even when things seemed uncertain. As he continued to work on his planner, he began to see other opportunities around him. He started reaching out to people in his network, asking for advice and feedback. He didn't feel as afraid to ask for help as he once had. He felt more confident in his abilities, and he realized that self-improvement isn't just about personal achievements. It's also about building connections with others and learning from them. Eventually, the young person found a new job, but he didn't stop working on his planner. He kept designing, creating, and learning. He kept writing his sentences and reading his pages. The small habits he had started all those months ago had become the foundation for his success. He had faced a challenge, but he didn't let it define him. Instead, he used it as a stepping stone towards something new. Looking back, he realized that everything he had learned on his journey was leading him to where he was now. He understood that life is full of ups and downs, but it's how you respond to the challenges that matter. Each setback is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to try again. He felt proud of himself not for avoiding challenges, but for facing them with courage and persistence. As he continued on his path, he kept the lessons he had learned close to his heart. The small steps, the steady habits, the willingness to face challenges, all of these had brought him to a place of peace and purpose. He knew that life would continue to have its challenges, but he was ready for them. He knew now that self-improvement is not just about reaching a goal. It's about learning, growing, and embracing each moment of the journey. The young person had learned that every challenge is an opportunity to rise stronger. And as he looked ahead, he felt ready for whatever came next. He knew that, no matter what, he could keep going one small step at a time. As time went on, the young person continued to grow and learn. He looked back at how far he had come and felt proud of himself. It wasn't just because he had achieved something big. It was because he had stayed true to his promise and kept going, even when things were difficult. He had learned that self-improvement is not something that happens quickly or all at once. It is a journey that takes time, patience, and effort. At first, the idea of self-improvement seemed so far away, he didn't think he could change or grow. But when he started taking small steps, he began to see that change was possible. It wasn't about doing something huge every day. It was about doing something small, something simple, that added up over time. He learned that progress comes from the little actions, done consistently, not from big leaps that happen all at once. In the beginning, he wasn't sure if any of his small actions would make a difference. He wondered if writing one sentence or reading one page would really change anything. But as time passed, he started to see the results of his efforts. His confidence grew, and he started feeling better about himself. His habits became a part of his life. Writing a sentence, reading a page, and taking small steps became natural to him. These simple actions helped him feel more in control of his life. He also learned that self-improvement is not just about reaching big goals. It's about growing in small ways every day. It's about learning to be patient with yourself and accepting that growth takes time. Sometimes there will be setbacks and things won't go as planned. But that's okay. What matters is that you keep going. Self-improvement is a continuous process, not a destination. It's about taking each day as it comes, doing your best, and making small improvements over time. Throughout his journey, the young person discovered that challenges are part of the process. There were moments when he felt discouraged or unsure. There were times when he wanted to give up. But instead of giving in to these feelings, he reminded himself that self-improvement doesn't happen without facing challenges. The difficulties he faced only made him stronger. He learned that even when things don't go as planned, there is always a lesson to be learned. Each setback is an opportunity to grow and become better. Looking ahead, he understood that self-improvement is not something that ends. It's an ongoing journey. Every day, there is something new to learn, something new to try. He felt a sense of peace, knowing that he didn't have to have all the answers right away. It was okay to take things one step at a time, and even when he faced challenges in the future, he knew that he could handle them. He had the tools and mindset to keep moving forward. The young person realized that self-improvement is not about becoming perfect or achieving everything at once. It's about progress, no matter how small. It's about trying, learning, and improving over time. The journey is full of ups and downs, but it's the small steps that make a big difference in the end. He also understood that self-improvement is not something that you do alone. Along the way, he had support from friends, family, and people he met along the way. Sharing his journey and his small victories with others helped him stay motivated and encouraged. He realized that connecting with others and learning from them was just as important as his personal growth. Self-improvement is not only about working on yourself, but also about building relationships and supporting others on their journeys too. As he continued to move forward, he felt more confident in himself. He knew that the journey wasn't over. There would be more challenges, more lessons to learn, and more growth to come. But now, he knew that each small step mattered. Each action, no matter how small, was a part of the bigger picture, and that was enough. Self-improvement is not a race. It's not about finishing first or being perfect. It's about progress, patience, and persistence. It's about making small changes every day, and over time, those changes will add up to something big. The journey of self-improvement is ongoing, and it's a path that leads to growth, understanding, and new opportunities. The young person now understood that he didn't have to rush. He could take things one day at a time, knowing that each small step would lead him to where he wanted to be. And as he looked ahead, he felt excited for what the future held. The journey was far from over, but he knew that he was on the right path. And with each step he took, he was getting closer to the person he wanted to become. At the end of the journey, the young person looked back on all the steps he had taken. What started as a simple promise to write a sentence and read a page each day had transformed his life in ways he never expected. He no longer felt lost or unsure. He had learned that change doesn't come overnight. It's not about making huge, instant improvements. It's about taking small, steady steps every day. These small actions added up, and over time, he became more confident, more focused, and more in control of his life. Throughout his journey, he faced challenges, and there were times when things didn't go as planned. He lost his job, and at first, it seemed like everything was falling apart. But instead of giving up, he used that setback as an opportunity to try something new. He started working on his passion for design and created a planner that helped people build good habits. It wasn't easy, and there were moments of doubt, but he kept going. His consistency and persistence paid off, and little by little, he began to see success. The young person's story is a powerful reminder that self-improvement is not about quick fixes or instant success. It's about consistent, small efforts that lead to big changes over time. His journey teaches us that we don't need to be perfect. What matters is that we keep moving forward, even when the path seems difficult. Every small step, no matter how insignificant it seems, brings us closer to our goals. One of the most important lessons from this story is the value of persistence. Life will always throw challenges our way, but how we respond to those challenges makes all the difference. The young person didn't give up when things got tough. Instead, he used each challenge as an opportunity to learn, grow, and move closer to his goals. This lesson can be applied to our own lives by focusing on the small, positive actions we can take each day, no matter how big or small they are. To apply this lesson in your own life, remember that self-improvement is a journey, not a race. Take small steps each day, be kind to yourself when things don't go perfectly, and stay persistent. Whether it's learning a new skill, building better habits, or simply improving yourself, remember that every small step counts. Stay focused, be patient, and trust that over time, you will see progress. Congratulations on following this story and improving your listening and understanding of English. By listening to the entire story, you've taken a step toward enhancing your language skills. Keep going, and don't forget to practice every day. Now, let's see if you've been paying attention. Here's a quick question for you. What is the key lesson in this story? As small steps lead to big changes, big actions are needed for self-improvement. Please leave your answer in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to support us and keep the content coming. We are working hard to create quality content for you, and your support means a lot to us. Also, if you'd like to help us keep making free, helpful content, please consider donating. Your donations help us continue to create and improve our videos. Thank you for learning with us, and we look forward to bringing you more stories and lessons in the future.